that scratching, making me itch.
What's good, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to In Love with Kimberly Michael. I am her, she is me. And big shout out to SavageCom.Entertainment and Jim Savage. Y'all already know how much I praise him because, what would I do without him? Literally not this. This was all his idea. I'll come to YouTube, he said. It'll be great, he says. So he does everything for me, and I'm grateful and appreciate him. We are going to have a short show tonight because I've been out all day. I haven't been home even an hour. So I think I left out at like 10 something. So anyway, we're going to have, I don't really have an actual subject per se, but I mean, I definitely need to have a conversation. I've had this conversation before, and I've had this conversation several times. I absolutely do not care for people who are just completely incompetent. Anyway, I've kind of had this conversation before, not necessarily about this particular statement or statements, but I've had the conversation. Everybody that follows me knows that I am pro-man, that I think the male species is the most beautiful and most needed energy on the planet. Healed and whole and evolved, but needed nonetheless. My issue is, and again, we've had this conversation, so I know that a lot of people and a lot of men especially think there's a whole name for the men that do this, and that they're just pushing these narratives and that they are just there for clout, basically, because all the women drop their panties when guys like this say shit, And so in this particular video, here's my issue. It's and I've said this before. Oh, that's me. I just wanted to hear it real quick. And so it's a video. Jay's going to put it up later, but not right now. But he's going to put it up later. But it is a video, once again, about a guy pushing false narratives. And basically he's saying that a strong woman will push a guy to be better, and that if he doesn't want to be better. Hey, Tiff. Hi, sweetie. Hi, love. Hi. Thank you. They're new. I needed yellow, so they have yellow in them. And, but this is about men pushing a false narrative. Number one, I don't even know if they understand what they're doing. And again, this falls in line. Here's the thing. I've been saying this. I'm going to say it again. Women need to worry about women, and men need to worry about men. Instead of men going around telling women what they should do, they should talk amongst themselves about being the best men that they can be for themselves, their family, and their community. Women need to do the same thing. We need to be more accountable, and we need to have conversations with ourselves about what we can do to become the best women and woman that we can be. Because we have to have a collective force, each of us. I think that we are unbalanced and misguided. And I had you know what? Let me send this link to this guy too. I had a back and forth conversation. A guy, let me try to find him real quick, you guys. Let me try to find him. I think this was his name. He put up a post. I'm going to find him. He put up a post earlier this week, or maybe yesterday or the day before. I'm going to read you what it says. I'm on his page. I did find him. I told you I would. This time it worked. So he said, well, there's a couple of posts similar to this, but one of them is that little black boys growing up hearing their mammies. I'm just reading what he said, by the way, you guys. Talk about how they don't need a ninja, grow into men without purpose or respect for black women. I don't see how it is daddy's fault. But that's not the conversation that we had. I have everyone. Watch me not go find the post. Okay, here it is. He said, these mamas teach their son not to trust women and then get mad when men don't trust women. Simping ain't dead these days. That's not the single. Okay, here it is. I found it. Okay, I found it. Sorry. Single mamas raising sons that women are complaining about because they don't need a ninja, and it's still a man's fault. Make it make sense. So my reply, well, somebody made the comment that he's always on here posting this kind of stuff, but like, what's the resolution? And people were saying, or what's the solution? And of course, y'all already know what I said, right? I said these women need to heal. Like, we are so incredibly damaged, and we stay in this shit. Like, we just relish in it. And I was talking to a newer friend of mine today, and who doesn't know my story, unless he's, like, been on Facebook and seen, I post here and there stuff. And I had to, like, I didn't have to, but I was attempting to say a couple of things, not a lot. Like, I don't want to have to relive my life, but I did have to, emphasize some things. And I felt terrible about it. Like, I didn't even want to share any of it. Like, it's just such an old part of me at this point. Like, I would love to tell you that it's completely, an ineffective part of my life and that it doesn't affect me at all now, but that's not a true statement. But the reality is that, I'm free and I'm healing and I'm, making an effort. And I think I know that more women need to do the same. And listen, I'm deep off in the healing. I've been doing this for 7 years. Literally, I've been healing for 7 years. I recently read that however long you're in the trauma, it takes half that amount of time to get out. And this was my 7th year, and I came to the conclusion that I wish in the fuck I would wait another 3 years to move through this process. Like, I'm just definitely not going to do it. I said, I'm just definitely not going to do that. First of all, somebody's not going to tell me how long or what the time frame is or however that works. But he's made a valid point. Anyway, I meant to inbox this guy, but he's making a very valid point that we as women are saying these things. We're speaking this to our children and our seeds. And as you guys know, I have told you guys this story before, that when my oldest son was born, that I had to have a conversation with my mother and my father. With my mother and my grandmother, my mother and her mother, because of how much they bashed women. Yeah, that's my son playing a game, by the way. We're going to take care of that in just a second. Don't you guys worry. But I've said before that I had to have a conversation with let me text my son. Hold on. That I had to have a conversation with my mother and my grandmother and tell them that they were going to have to immediately, without fail, stop bashing men. That it was my intention to raise a really good man. And I couldn't do that if he's around women who do nothing but talk about how fucked up men are and how shitty men are. And both my mother and my grandmother have lived that way their entire life. Both of them at that point had lived talking and bashing men, like excessively bashing them, to be honest with you. And y'all, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you about my child. There's no one like him. Speaking, and I'm sitting here down here talking about him and, me protected. But I literally had to put my foot down and and say to my mother and my grandmother that they had to shut up. Like, they're not going to be bashing men in front of my child. It's not healthy, basically. And luckily, they attempted to do so. I think my mom in her old age has kind of settled down. My grandmother never stopped. Like, she bashed my grandfather and bashed men and, dogged them out at a level I cannot even express to you. And it needs to stop. But he made a valid point that for us to, we're perpetuating this. We as women are perpetuating the fact that all men is not the same. All men are not the same, baby. They are not the same. But we as women are feeding garbage into our sons. Then we are feeding garbage to them about the men that we have a problem with, that we chose to lay down with, that we chose to procreate with, that we chose to continue on a relationship with, whatever be the case. And again, if it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. I'm specifically speaking about broken women who are doing broken shit and in their broken behavior. I know I'm all over the place tonight. I'm tired. But my point is, these narratives and the things that we are saying matter. It matters. It does not matter what you believe in spiritually. Your words are power. And they are full of power. They are powerful. They are full of it. And if you are speaking to a child, whether it is about his father or about his relatives or about his gender, they are going to listen and they are going to follow your direction. And then you are going to create and manifest. And then you are now raising men who believe that men ain't shit, that their daddy ain't shit, that men ain't shit in general. And you're telling them that who they are as an entity, as an energy, as a spiritual energy, is not who is not good, is bad. It's bad. And it's bad enough that the women are creating these generational curses. We talked about this before. It's bad enough that they're creating generational curses. Creating new generational curses, I might add. There's already curses that have been passed down generationally, but what they are creating now is it's not okay. And this dude, Jay, if you have time, you can go ahead and play the video while Jay's pulling up the video. If he's, hopefully he's listening. I will tell y'all this: like the show, subscribe to the channel, and then share the shit out of the show, please. And thank you. Appreciate y'all. So he's gonna, check this out.
When a man doesn't want to change, you will find a girl that's okay with his lifestyle so that he doesn't have to grow up. That's why these weak men will accuse a strong woman of having an attitude, but she actually just has standards and boundaries. She's not going to put up with your foolishness, and she's going to require you to be a good man. And eventually you're going to leave and accuse her of being too masculine or independent for the simple fact she held you accountable for your actions. Ladies, don't ever think you are not enough for a man. Sometimes you are just too much.
First of all, sir, how is you? This shit works every nerve I got. I'm not even gonna lie to you. You're gonna work. So he's literally acting like the women that behave this, like he's giving women permission to behave a certain type of way. He's giving them permission to act masculine because he's telling. We are not the driving force to change anybody ever. And I had this conversation. I'm sorry, I'm trying to share the show. Y'all know how I am on here. I'm not good at it. Y'all know I'm not good at it. And I just got the link and then forgot to share the show to who I was trying to share it with. So anyway, the narrative that he's creating and that he's engaging with. So he's he's basically saying like, oh, this is this type of behavior and it is equivalent to what men consider masculine. No, it's not. It is masculine behavior. Okay, I know what I was going to tell you. So there's somebody that I talk to probably every couple of weeks. Me and him have a really like 2-hour conversation about men, women, relationships, how people move, and all of these things. And I would consider him, and he would consider himself. They would consider himself. So Jay, I need to know if you agree with what he said, because I don't. First of all, I don't. But I'm just wondering if you agree, because you said it was cap. And for those of you who don't know, I don't know what that means. Just let me know. I don't know what that means. It was dope. What he was saying was like, you believe in what he was saying, because all women do, as far as I'm concerned, broken women specifically, is get in relationships with men and then tell men how they want them to be in the relationship to make them, the women, happy. So they get in these relationships. He's a simp. Okay. Yeah. Agreed. Whatever that is, I don't know, but it's agreed that he's pushing false narratives and he's making, like, he's doing it for clout. And this has been said a million times. Hi, Caitlin. Welcome to the show. Thanks for showing up. We've had several conversations about men being simps, which I get the idea of it, but and that a lot of them do it. That he's doing it for clout, but here's the thing: somebody's got to say something. Now, listen. At the end of the day, for me, it's not my place to tell him about his behavior or what he's doing. But it damn sure is my place to tell him to stop speaking about women and what we feel, what we believe, how we behave. It's no different than us as women trying to raise a son and tell them how to be a man when we don't have a penis. We can only say so much. And I've used this example before, and I'm going to use it again. And I know that there are people who disagree with me, but as we all know, your perception of me is not my responsibility. But there is always going to be a lack under certain circumstances, and there is nothing that you can say that's going to make me believe that. I, as a woman, raised my sons the best way that I could. They did have their father in their life, but it was not a good example. He did not pour into them. He depleted them. So I'm not using that as an example, but my point is that there were things as a Black man that he should have instilled in his sons as Black men that he did not. I cannot come behind him and instill anything about being a Black man to my sons. First of all, I'm a woman. And secondly, I'm a white woman. And the same thing with my daughter. I can give my daughter all the love and respect and honor and appreciation. I can speak all the wisdom. I can speak all the knowledge that I have, and I can walk in all the wisdom that I own, and I can guide her in every way, shape, or form. But I cannot speak to her as a Black woman. It is a deficit that me alone as a white woman raising them, and I don't give a shit how old they are, that they're all in their 20s. I am still raising my children. I am still feeding them and giving them knowledge to survive. And I can tell them, like I said, everything that's in my brain, I can feed to them. Everything good, everything great. The way that I encourage Black men on my podcast is the same way that I encourage my sons. It's the same way that I speak to them. But I'm never going to be able to speak to the Blackness in my children, which is why it is when I talk about relationships on my other show and I talk about me healing and me becoming a certain type of woman, it's because there is a certain type of man that I need to be the spiritual head of my household. There is a certain type of man that I desire to be in the role to lead my seeds as a Black man. And it is imperative that that is the type of man that I attract. So I became the type of woman that attracts that type of man. And I stand by that. And I'm not going to falter from that, because people are like, no, you're their mom. I get that. Jay said, let's be honest. He's scared to acknowledge women's shit because I mean, I don't know why the men do what they do. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why they do. And going back to my original, me talking to the guy in relationships and all that, he made a comment to me one day because he is like a male version of me. I attract wonderful, beautiful, amazing men in my life, amazing. But I also track some lower level energy people who just don't have a bit of sense at all. And I get that. I understand, why now, and I'm good with that. But he is enlightened. I consider him woke, conscious, whatever you want to call it, whatever verbiage that puts you on that makes you feel comfortable. But he is definitely an enlightened, and he is, if not, healed on a healing journey. He's aware of his, past trauma and behaviors and that sort of nature, that sort of thing. So anyway, we're chit-chatting the other night, and he proceeds to tell me, I was like, well, why do you fuck with these lower level energy women? Like, you're going to attract them. Everybody's going to attract people that are beneath them or at a lower level than them or not as elevated as they are, not as smart as they are, whatever the case is. It's going to happen. And I was like, but why do you continue to fuck with them? Like, why do you, when you know that they're at this lower level, whatever? And he was like, because like, what would their life be if they didn't meet me? And like, I can look at them and know that I can encourage them and I can say these. I said, so you think your role is to save them? Basically is what he was saying. He was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, their life, they deserve to have a man like me show up in their life and blah, blah. And he's telling me this in detail. Like, they deserve to have this man that is going to speak to them this kind of way and move this kind of way and honor them in this kind of way. And, and one of the things is, what's up, Cooks? What's up, Cooks? And one of the things, but I said to him, I literally, and we have this relationship, so it wasn't disrespectful, but I said to him, who do you think you are? Like, who do you think you are? I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. And no disrespect to any men who do this. But don't tell us how to be. We can't tell you how to be. We can't tell a man. And I know we try, and God knows I'm against it. And I think we should fucking stop immediately. I mean, just as quickly as we can shut our damn mouths, actually quicker than that. We need to, thanks for showing up, Cooks. We need to stop telling them what to do and how to be. And we need to focus on ourselves. And if we need a collective to focus on, then we can, start with your friends, start with your family, talk to the women in the family, not the men. Now, listen, if a man approaches you and he asks you a question, I have talked to many a men. I have literally interviewed men. I've had men on my show repeatedly over the last 4 years. I've talked to men. Anywhere I can have a conversation with them, I get into a conversation with them, and we have conversations about everything and anything that we can have a conversation about. And I want to know, I want to listen to them. I've listened to them, and I've heard them, and I've comprehended them, and I have been challenged by them, and I've wanted to bow up at some of them, but it was, for me, imperative. So again, that I could become the type of woman that I would attract the type of man that I need for the rest of my life, my final partner, if you will. And here comes this dude saying like, a woman being aggressive, telling you to change isn't her being masculine. She's a strong woman. Look, we're all strong. I mean, have we looked around the what's going on in the world? This is still why I don't watch TV. I don't watch anything past Netflix or Hulu. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's how I pronounce it. Hulu. Anyway, I don't watch anything past that. Like I don't watch commercials. I don't watch news. I don't click on links. I have no desire to be involved in any of that shit. I don't want to know the narrative and the rhetoric and the propaganda that's being pushed. I don't want to listen to it. I'm not inputting it into my brain in any way, shape, or form. even, that's why, TikTok for me is, I'm going to tell you why I love it. Because even though every time I say dick or pussy, they take off my sound, which is ridiculous, the stuff people say on there, and they ban me. And, but last time and I figured out, well, it doesn't matter, but I figured out I got banned from TikTok and I had to start a new account. So I'm starting over fresh. But anywho, the reason that I like it is because as soon as somebody starts talking and it's rhetoric and it's this shit right here, unless it's for content, I'm moving on. I'm not listening to this shit. I love men. We know that, but I'm sick and tired of the men that are doing this. Stop talking to us. You want us to shut up and stop talking to you? Then stop talking to us. Stop speaking for us and stop convincing men that our bad behavior and our masculine behavior is strength, because it isn't. It's brokenness. It is unhealed trauma and generational curses passed down. It is the energy that is being projected onto us and the community deliberately by the powers that be for a reason, to keep us divided. Almost every narrative out there is completely divisive. It divides on, and I'm talking about even the most basic shit. Will smacking that guy, I shouldn't say that guy because I just couldn't think of his name. Was it Chris Rock? Was it Chris Rock that he smacked the shit out of on stage or whatever? Like who, the whole community was divided by that. Jesus, communities were divided by the chicken sandwich at Popeyes. Are you fucking serious right now? All the shit that's going on in the world, and this is what we're doing? This is what we're fucking fighting over. If Chris Rock should have stood up and he shouldn't have, or not Chris Rock, Will Smith, and he shouldn't have done this and he shouldn't have done that. Oh, but let me getting loud because that shit pisses me off. I'm not even gonna lie. But at the end of the day, what happens if we're out with, let's just say for the sake of saying I'm out with Jay. Me and him are just out chilling. We're having dinner, whatever. And somebody walks by and speaks to me and say they're aggressive to me and kick my chair that I'm sitting in and call me a ninja lover or something like that. I'm being extreme because, of course, I wish I would do some shit like that to me. But anyway, let's just say that happens. And Jay does nothing. Jay sits there and looks at me, looks at him, looks at me, and does nothing. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen next. I'm leaving. Because I feel like Jay should have stood up and put a chokehold on that bitch and been like, don't you ever in your entire life walk by any woman and do what you just did to her, right? But, I know, Jay, I already know. I already know that dude's getting choked the whole entire, listen, you don't even let nobody mess with me on the podcast, so I know, I know we ain't going out in public and somebody kick my damn chair without you choking their ass out. I already know. You know what I mean? But this is my point. But here, I know he would. But my point is that we as women keep saying we want our men to be men, but when they stand up and be men, then all of a sudden, I don't watch the show. I don't know if I know she's got that little show that she does, and that I don't know, did they go on the show and have a conversation about him doing this? But I do know that eventually, I know it wasn't immediately, but I know eventually, and I didn't watch it because I was sick when I started to see whatever I was scrolling through and I saw Will talking. That shit hurts my heart, you guys, for real. But I saw him talking and I realized that it was him attempting the apology. And I just scrolled through. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to witness it because, again, we as women want to pick and choose. We want a provider. We want a high value man. It's fucking stupid. And, we want a protector and we want all these things. But then you show up like this, men show up as all of those things and who they should be. And then we say, okay, I want you to protect me like this. I want you to provide for me like this. I want you to lead me like this. And I want you to do all of these things afterwards. Then I will be happy and you will be the man that I want and desire. Y'all, I need a resolution. Like, I need a resolution. Like I told this guy when he was talking about this, women need to heal. Women need to, there's no other There's no other avenue that can be taken. There's no other suggestions. There's no other solutions. There's no other resolutions. Women need to heal. Women, heal your asses. Heal. Find a fucking way to heal, whatever it looks like for you. Stop making excuses for your behavior. Stop making excuses for your relationships. Stop making excuses and blaming everyone that you can blame besides yourself. Stop it. Heal immediately. When these women come at me and act ridiculous, I don't even engage with them. I'm like, you know what? A, B, C, and D, and I hope you heal, and block. Because I'm not going through it with you. I can't force you to heal. I can't make you heal. I can't do any of those things. But you need to check yourselves. And the women who need to check themselves know exactly who I'm talking to. You know if your behavior is fucked up. I do not want to hear, well, that's just the way I talk to him because that's just how I am. No, that is a byproduct of your trauma. That is a byproduct of generational masculinity being passed down, and now you're toxic. And I've talked about this before too, and you're carrying toxic energy. You're carrying that toxic masculine energy. Why? Because we were not built for it. We were not built to carry that type of masculine energy. Men were. Energetically, men were built for it, and we're not. And this dude getting on here with this shit, oh, she's so strong. No, she's not. And if you're the type of man who would, listen, at the end of the day, there's men move differently, just like women move differently. And there's certain men that move a certain way. So there's certain men who, these are examples, say, go on men trips with their men, right? They go wherever and they do whatever, and they get married. And, say maybe once every 2 years, the guys still get together and they go do something, regardless of what it is. And they're, we're talking about committed relationships, marriage, faithful. We're not talking about whoring around, because healed men are past that shit anyway. Most healed men are not into like the whole whoring scene, and, they're on some other shit, right? They're on some growth shit and some evolution shit. They're not on this nonsense, hoeing around and whatnot. They're making moves and they're doing some things. You know what I mean? And that's what men need to do. But that's on them. Again, that needs to be a conversation amongst men, not amongst women. And this is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. When I get on here, I'm talking to women. Men are in the conversation, but I am not speaking to men. It is not my place as a woman to speak to a man and tell him how to behave. It is my job to become the type of woman that I want to become, and wait for the man that we attract each other, that we harmonize each other, that we balance each other, that what he wants me. So back to the story. So if this guy does this, the last thing he needs to do is get with a woman who has absolutely no friends, has absolutely no outlets, has absolutely nothing that she does other than stay up his ass. Because every 2 years, when he goes on that fucking trip, there's going to be a fucking problem. Now, this is who that dude was before him and her got together. This is who he was. They're not, again, I'm not talking about whore trips with men. This is who he was. They go on trips, they bond, they have conversations, they do healing shit, whatever, okay? They go to Vegas and gamble the entire time and stay drunk and eat food, whatever they do. But they're not out doing anything, okay? They're just hanging out. Be patient. Wait for a woman who lives a similar lifestyle, so that you guys can plan around each other. Hey, you go on your girls' trip. I'll be home with the kids. I'll go on my guy trip, and there's no conflict and confusion, because you understand that. So for instance, and I'll use myself as an example. I have tremendous men in my life. I've said this a million times, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Some of the dopest fucking dudes are in my closest circle. Jim Savage being one of them. I literally have a list of 5 or 6 men that are just incredibly dope ass dudes, on the right path, doing the right shit, making the right moves, all of those things. I adore them. I love them. I honor them. I respect them. I absolutely am grateful for the friendship and what they have to offer to me in that friendship. And there's no way that I could allow a man to step into my life and tell me that I could no longer communicate with these men for whatever reason. So, a couple of the men, one, like just per se, one of the men I had a relationship with, but we are absolutely great friends. I fucking love him. Everybody knows that I do. I love him. And another man I didn't have a full-fledged relationship with, but we are very close and I adore him as well too. And my best friend, my best friend, he's been my best friend that's my dog running back and forth, by the way. He's been my best friend for 6 years now, like faithfully every day. How you doing? What's going on? I can't imagine. I wouldn't be able to get involved with a man who's never had a woman friend that he didn't want to fuck or get, because he would not understand. He wouldn't be able to understand unless he was just completely secure in himself. He wouldn't be able to understand the relationship that I have. If a man encountered me and said, hey, we decide that we're going to be in a monogamous relationship, and he'd be like, you can't talk to any of your friends anymore, he would not be the man for me, because the men that are in my life that are that spectacular to me bring me so much. They lift me up in ways that is necessary, encourage me, are there for me. We have productive relationships. We talk about important things. We talk about healing and evolving, and we talk about men and we talk about women, and they know my mind. Now, am I going to dinner or on the weekend trip with them? Absolutely not. But am I going to explain myself every time I have a conversation? Or, hey, I was out today, I ran into Jim and me and him had lunch and blah, blah, blah. No, the only thing I want back is, oh, great. I love that. What's going on? Is he good? How's he doing? You know what I'm saying? And he's definitely coming to the wedding, right? Like, those are the conversations that I'm having. If I feel like it, again, I'm not saying never, ever, ever, but I feel like, another man would have to have, women friendship. And I've had a man, I have this woman, I've had men say, I've had this, and they go into this, oh, yeah, and it's completely platonic. And I'm like, baby, you ain't got to explain. You got to explain to these other hoes about what's going on, but you ain't got to explain to me. Because I understand, because I have men that, and most men will say, all of my male friends want to hump me. And if I given them the opportunity, would hump me. Okay, first of all, they're men, and men are sexual creatures. Again, another implementation. Fuck that word. Another something else that we've implemented. Why was that so challenging for me, you guys? Something else that we as women have implemented, where we say we want this type of man, but when they show up, then we only want partially. So we want you to be the protector provider. We know that you're sexual creatures and we know all these things, but the minute that you show up sexually, then it's a fucking problem for us. And we got issues. Oh, why you, and you like, I'm gonna need you again to make this make sense. Like, you either want that type of man or you don't. Because you can't be screaming you want a masculine man that does this and provides and protects and leads and does these things, and then you don't give him the avenue to do so. So I'm going to share something with you guys. So I've been the amount of soul searching that has went on in my life in the last 5 months has been utterly ridiculous. I can't even. I would love to tell you that I'm not happy about it, because it has been extremely challenging. There have been some Jesus, coming to Jesus moments that I've had to really address, take a look at it, dissect it, look at my behavior and what's behind my behavior and that sort of thing. And it's been a very, very challenging time. I'm not even gonna lie, challenging. And shit, I forgot what I was gonna say, you guys. It was about one of my behaviors that I know what it was. I was talking to one of my friends and he said, "What's up, T? What's up, Tony? Hey, baby. Hey, sweetheart." Speaking of one of the most beautiful men in my life, conscious, Tony. And you guys can follow him everywhere. He's on literally everything. And he's probably one of the first really, truly wise men that I ran into that was really like moving out of his wisdom. And I give him his props all the time for that. And we have dope ass conversations too. And he's one of my friends that it wouldn't be something that would be negotiable to me. I would still want to be talking to him occasionally. What's up, lady? Hi, sweet pea. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks, everybody. Quick, subscribe, like, share the shit out of the show while you're here. It's going to be, it's not going to run too much longer, just because Jay's got stuff going on and I've been running all day, but I appreciate you guys showing up and engaging. But so one of the things, that I had to address that I realized I was doing. So I was talking to one of my friends, of course, and he was saying how women get in relationships and we say that we want a leader, but then as soon as we get involved with somebody and we like them, then we take the lead on the relationship. We're the first ones to say, I love you. Again, not all the time. We're the first ones to say, I love you. We're the ones asking about commitment. We're the ones asking about moving forward in the relationship. We're the ones saying, all these things. We don't allow the man to lead the relationship. Now, look, if you're with a man and he's not leading the relationship, don't try to have a conversation with him. Get the fuck on. Y'all know how I feel about this. We, at this big old age, I don't know about y'all youngsters. I can't speak for the youngsters, but at this big old age that I am, I'm not having a conversation with you. I'm not talking to you about your behavior. You know where I'm at. You know that I'm evolved. You know that I'm healed. You know that I'm on this journey of evolution, no matter how healed I am, and self-actualization, and that I am always going to be on that. And so there's no conversation to be had. What's understood does not have to be explained. It just don't. But I had to think about that for a minute. Like, do I do that? I absolutely determined that a lot of times I do. Not the whole I love you part necessarily, because I don't have a lot of relationships that got that far in the last 7 years, to be honest with you. But I can see how I start relationships with men and then I attempt to jump in and lead. That is a behavior. That is a masculine behavior. It is not a behavior that I want to be involved with. So I had to check my ass. I had to acknowledge that I was doing it. I had to hold myself accountable for it. I had to determine really, why am I doing it? Where is it coming from? And then literally change the behavior. Because if that's the type of woman you want to be, then feel free. Then jump in these relationships with these men, tell them to change, and then, also lead the relationship and then scream, please, from the top of the mountains that they're not leaders and they're not providers and that they don't do shit right and that you're not happy. Because God forbid the man should be happy as well too. That whole happy spouse, happy house, nothing that I think I dislike more than that statement. Like, again, and I've said this and I'm saying it again tonight, I don't know who the hell women think they are. Like, who do you think you are? That happy spouse, happy. And you know how many men live like that? I can't imagine. I can't imagine how many men live like that. But I feel like this, Jay, I swear to God, no disrespect. I am not playing with you. No disrespect at all. But the group show that you have with all the men in there, and there's like you and one other lonely polygamist, and don't take when I say polygamist wrong either, you guys. But you and one lonely, and the rest of the men in there are Christians. I know you know what I'm talking about. That show, I'm sorry to say, but I feel like those Christian men that are in there, that's what the way that they speak about their relationships with their wives is that they are literally there to make them happy. And anything they can do, whether it decreases them as men, whether it decreases them as individuals, whether it is humiliating, or whether they don't care. As long as she's happy, that's all that matters, because that's the only way that they have peace, is if she's happy. And so they're willing to do literally everything for her. And all she's going to do, the reality is that a broken woman that needs a man to make her happy is never going to be happy. And therefore she is going to increase her demands. She's going to increase her need. She's going to need you more. She's going to need more attention, more love, more time, more affection, because no amount that you give her is ever going to be enough to make her happy, for the pure and simple fact that she's looking to you for her happiness. And that's on us. And we as women walk around doing that shit all day long, every day. It is the source of what is fucking wrong with us because we think we're entitled. Because of all the people that are throwing around all these words that don't fit and all of the overusing words like reciprocity and not need, that's my word, which I had to change that too, but narcissism and that type of thing. I am a firm believer that it is women that are turning into narcissists. Narcissism was a male thing for a very long time. It was mostly men that were diagnosed I'm sorry, again, my son. So I'm about to text him right quick and get him to shut it down. All the noise. I don't know if y'all can hear him hollering at this game, but that's what he's doing, hollering at this game. So I'm trying to text him. But, and of course I lost my train of thought, so I'm not going to text him. He quieted it down a little bit. So, but back to what I was saying, I remember. This man on the video that Jay played earlier, and it makes me furious because it puts women right where we want to be, forcing a man to become something he's not to make us happy. So he's not happy. And again, this neat thing, the guys on that show, Jay, you know what show I'm talking about? I don't want to say Velvet Room because I don't know if that's it, but it's the one with all the guys on it that you have or had, and that y'all talk about, and that's how they, I think for real, how they live. Because the one guy made the comment, do you know how hard it is for me to have one? We were talking about poly, and he was on the show. He said, you know how hard it, or your show, not my show, but you were talking about poly, and he said, you know how hard it is for me to make one woman happy, and thing. Again, it's going to get harder and harder. It's not going to get easier and easier. You're not going to fall into some plan of action and behaviors that just automatically, because again, what the Velvet Room, okay, there you go. The Velvet Room, the guys like, I feel I could be wrong. And they're more than welcome to come on here and defend themselves at any given day. But I feel like they live by that motto. Like a happy wife is a happy life, or a happy spouse. It should be happy spouse. So that's it. Happy wife, happy life. Not happy spouse, happy house. My bad. It should be happy spouse, happy house. And then both spouses are happy, but we would probably, as women, turn that into us anyway. So, but happy wife, happy life. That's the narrative. My bad, you guys. I misspoke. That's ridiculous. Because again, who do we think we are? Who the fuck do we think we are that we are so magnificent? I'm telling you, it's these generational masculinity that's been passed down, that's become toxic, and now we are turning into narcissists. I mean, look, I'm all for being secure in who you are as a woman, being secure in how you feel about your body and who you are, and loving yourself from the inside out. I'm all about it. But the women that I see with these behaviors specifically, there is nothing about them to me that screams security, that screams healed, that screams evolved, enlightened, any of those things. And I saw something the other day, and the lady said, the problem with a lot of us, why we're stuck. I think she was a reader. She said a tarot card reader. I think, and I was just passing through her life, and she said, a reason why a lot of us are stuck is that we keep stopping trying to bring everybody with us. Our friends, what's up, BW? Our friends, our family. We become enlightened, and then we try to bring everybody with us. But the problem is that you can't. She's like, you got to find your enlightened tribe, and you got to move through them. And then, and I moved on from that. That's all I needed to hear. And I kept the party going, because at the end of the day, you can never change another individual. And all these women out here, instead of just being patient and waiting for a man that fits them, that they can balance themselves with again and harmonize themselves with, they just pick the next man that shows up. And they start, feeding them with a bunch of bullshit, telling them they want it here. Oh, Gilly, what's up, girl? I hate when you come on with all these weird ass sign-in names and I don't know who you are. Hi. It's the Gillmeister, guys. Everybody send love and light to Gilly, and go ahead and subscribe, like, and share the shit out of the show. But I want everybody to send Gilly love. She's in a huge transition in her life as far as healing goes, and she needs all the love and good energy that she can get. That's all I'm going to say about that. She's more than welcome to speak on it when and if she's ever ready. And until then, we're just going to send love and light to her and encourage her to be fucking great and tell her that we believe in you. I believe in you. Thank you. I love these. I got three new. So I had to have a mental health break, as some of you know, and some of you were back that weren't here last week, but I went away to Florida for about 5 days, and hoping that I could get my mind right. I mean, literal mental health. Like and I'm unashamed. I cried on the flight home all the way, literally like the stewardess sat down and, can I hug you? Are you okay? And the other stewardess brought me a box of tissue. He was like, baby, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I just hate flying. I didn't want to tell him I was having a nervous breakdown on the plane, like literally. You know what? I forgot my train, where I was going. I want to make sure I didn't miss any like statements that I miss it. Jay, you think we should play the video again? I mean, we're not going to be on here. But don't see Gilly. Oh, you didn't see Gilly. What do you mean? Didn't see Gilly. I don't know. I don't know what that means. I said I wasn't going to do a long show, but I want Jay to do the video again because I want you guys to hear this bullshit. And then I'm going to comment on it again. And if you guys don't want to jump on, then that's fine. Well, the same video, because there's several people on here that weren't on here earlier. I don't know. I can't see who's on here unless they talk. So I never know who's actually on here and who's not, because I can't see that part. And it's unfortunate that I don't know how to work my own show enough that I can figure out how to find that out. But it's just the fact of the matter. And it's unfortunate. See, here I go. I have see, and look at all these things. Yes, play video. You came to Florida and didn't see Gilly. Oh, first of all, you demanded that I didn't see you. That's the first thing. And I did come to Florida and did not see Gilly. But listen to this video again, you guys. This is what we're talking about. And again.
The man doesn't want to change. You will find a girl that's okay with his lifestyle so that he doesn't have to grow up. That's why these weak men will accuse a strong woman of having an attitude, but she actually just has standards and boundaries. She's not going to put up with your foolishness, and she's going to require you to be a good man. And eventually you're going to leave and accuse her of being too masculine or independent for the simple fact she held you accountable for your actions. Ladies, don't ever think you are not enough for a man. Sometimes you are just too much.
First of all, I didn't add this last time. Let me add it this time. Nobody is too much for the right person. So that's another narrative that we needed to shut down immediately. You agree with the dude? Gilly, come on. You're playing devil's advocate right now. Yep, my guy chose me because I didn't push back. I have a lot of things to say. I bet you do. You bring your ass on here. You know the routine. But yeah, I don't agree with this dude at all. Like, first of all, again, here's keywords. Let's just talk about keywords that he says. He says that a woman's going to hold you accountable for your behavior, and then you will leave. He said the man will leave. The man will leave, and then he will. Whoever agrees with him is a beta. That's BW is Gilly J. I know. So Jay is in a loud place, so he's probably not necessarily hear everything. But BW is Gilly J. And but one of the things he said that's literally a contradiction is he said that when a woman will hold you accountable, and then you leave, and then you will call them masculine, and you will say these things when really they were holding you accountable. No, they weren't. They weren't holding you accountable for your behavior. You know why? Because if they were holding the man accountable for his behavior, the woman would have left. Not him, because he's tired of listening to her shit. She would have left if he didn't change his behavior. She is not going to be responsible for changing his behavior, because no one is responsible for changing another person's behavior unless we're talking about a child and you're disciplining them to learn. Men aren't children. Are there men who act like children? Absolutely. And if you want to be a mother the rest of your life and never want to get rid of that role for you, then feel fucking free to go find you a childish ass man that you need to learn him. You need to teach him things and discipline him and hold the pussy back and not do his clothes and not feed him and all of those things, because you're punishing him because he hasn't lived up to your false ass expectations about what you think would make you happy, because you think you need a man to make you happy. And I wish a motherfucker would go back through my videos talking about, well, you always say you need a man to make you happy. No, what I say is I need a man. I did not say that I need a man to make me happy. I said that I need a man. Women need men. Men need women. Again, healed, whole, evolved, enlightened, but we need each other nonetheless. We were put on this planet to be together. So yes, I need a man, not to make me happy, not to make me whole, but to balance me and harmonize me. And this dude right here is not making my job easier when I'm talking to women at the end of the day. I can't change a woman either, but hopefully some of the shit I say will make sense to a broken woman, and she will decide to look into ways that she can heal herself and evolve, where she can get into a place where she is in her self-actualization journey and she's holding herself accountable and checking her behaviors and surrounding herself with other women who are checking their behaviors and that sort of shit. Let me read all this stuff Gilly's saying, you guys, because she's in the thing going crazy. He said weak men choose weak women because they cannot handle strong women. If you listen, you would agree. I did listen several times. I don't agree. The weak women are not holding men accountable. Nobody is holding men accountable. Most women get in a relationship, there's bad behavior, and they stay, repeat, and they stay, and they stay, and they stay, and they stay, and they talk, and they talk, and they talk, and they demand, and they demand, and they demand, and the men just look at them. Womp, 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 womp. Remember Charlie Brown teacher? That's what men see when we're doing all this extra shit that we're doing. She thinks a man's going to change. She thinks she's strong. She can change him. But you being you, not you, women being strong is not a prerequisite for healing a man. We're not there to heal them. We're there to nurture them. Those are two different things. Let's look up, shall we? Let's look up. Nurture means to care for and encourage the growth or development of. Nowhere in this shit does it say heal. That's the verb. The noun is the same thing. The process of caring for and encouraging the growth or development of someone or something. That's what we're doing. We are not here to heal, change, any of those things. If you have a man, let me read all the comments before I start my next thought. Can't change. I mean, who doesn't want to change? So he'll just find somebody that puts up with him. That's what he's saying. I agree, and I'm not discouraging that. But guess what? So is the girl. She's just gonna go find her a man that'll put up with her loudmouth, badass behavior. You know, I mean, Jay knows. I sent him that video. I talk about it ever since I sent it to him. And this heifer is like screaming at this man, like going off on him over some bullshit, right? And oh yeah, Jay, put the link in there. I mean, I know it's late. We won't go long. I promise. I know I said I wasn't gonna go long. But we're not here to change them. If we're supposed to stay in our divine feminine energy, part of that energy is nurturing. So we nurture them, we encourage them, and we do those things. If they are consistently stepping on your boundaries, walking over them, stomping them out, setting them bitches on fire in flames, that is not a healthy relationship. And you holding them accountable, staying bitching. I told that motherfucker, oh, I'm withholding sex. I'm not, you're not doing shit. And ladies, let me give you a little piece of advice. If you don't know, you can tell me I'm wrong all the fuck you want to. And if you want to go and ask your man and talk to him and let him lie to your fucking face, you can go right ahead and do it too. But if you withhold sex from your man as punishment for behavior that isn't conducive to make you fucking happy, let me just tell you that there's 150 other fucking women in his inbox who will let him slide up in it for 3 minutes or less with no bitching and pissing and moaning involved, okay? Let me just be clear. Keep on withholding from your men for punishment if that's what you want to do. No, I'm not talking about if you don't feel like it and you're tired. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying specifically for punishment. Like this motherfucker acting up, and if that's what he want to do, that's fine. But what he ain't getting is some of this. Okay. You ain't got to give him no top. You ain't got to bend over and pull your panties to the side, but another bitch will. I promise you that. So if I were you, I'd be fucking and feeding him every day before he left the house, and I'd be fucking him and feeding him every day when he got home. And I'd be making sure that that happens on a consistent basis. So when that motherfucker do leave the house, the only thing he want to do is get home. Period. You don't want to follow my advice about nothing I say? Don't. Keep your ass out there broken and hurt and shit, and being with men who you feel you have to punish because they're not making you happy. Because again, they're not going to make you happy. That's not going to happen. You're not going to be happy because a man is making you happy. You're going to be miserable as shit until you heal the wounds that you have, until you check your own behavior, until you start stepping into the energy that you were born to be into instead of trying to step into the energy that doesn't exist for you. We are too far along in this journey. There is too much knowledge out there for women and men not to accept their roles energetically for who they are and how they belong. Listen, yes, we are spiritual creatures having a human experience. But for the love of God, can y'all understand that we are having the human experience? That is, in fact, what we are doing. We are having a human experience. Men saying that a woman is strong and that the strong equates to what other people, men, think as masculine is bullshit. Because you and I both know that being strong doesn't have anything to do with masculine behavior. Oh, you're saying she's strong and that she's masculine, but really she's just strong. No, that's nonsense. We're all strong at this point. Men and women, I'm not talking physically, emotionally and mentally, we have to be, or we would all be on this, unaliving ourselves. This is not, I'm not saying this is the worst of times, but these aren't good times. People aren't good. Things aren't good. Kim, these people are stuck in the matrix narrative. I absolutely agree, 100%. Once we fight and get the beta men that are in charge out of the charge, the world will be different. I agree. And the same thing with the women. Once us feminine, divine feminine energy women, or women in our divine feminine energy, you guys, I'm tired. Women in our divine feminine energy start showing up and knocking these damn masculine ass women on their ass. You can call them strong all you want to, but baby, I got something for you energetically. You know what I mean? I'm not going to stand in front of a woman and allow her, not in my presence. You can go take that shit elsewhere. We ain't got to be friends. But if you the type of motherfucker that'll be in a man's face in public and cuss him out and talk any kind of way to the person that you're with and talk to the men any kind of way, whether you mad or angry or whatever, you're not my people. And I'm not going to stand here and encourage your ass to behave that way. I'm not going to put you on video and be like, look at my girl. No, I'm be like, look at this bitch. She used to be my friend. But this masculine ass woman now, look how she acting. That's what I'm going to do with the video that I have of you. That's what I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to say this, whether anybody like it or not. Let me say this. There's a lot of fucking women running around here screaming about their divine feminine energy and their dicks. They don't know how to move properly. They still bitching and pissing and moaning at their man, burning sage and shit, and and call themselves doing this and doing that, and they still walking around in their masculine energy. They got every excuse under the sun. Oh, when the right man show up and when. Let me tell. I said it before. Once again, I'm gonna say it again. It is not that easy. It is not that easy. I have been on this journey checking my behavior. And listen, I'm the type of chick that stops stuff and just stops. In other words, I quit smoking. I got up one day. I took a drag off a cigarette. I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. And I didn't. I got up one day and I drank a Pepsi and I didn't want to drink Pepsi anymore. So I didn't. I used to drink Pepsi every single day. And now I drink it maybe once a month. And when I was deep off heavy in the church, we're not talking about that, but when I was deep off heavy in the church, I got up one day and I quit drinking and smoking. I was 420 friendly up until that point. And I mean, since the time I was young, like 14, I have been 420 friendly. And I was in my 40s when I was preaching. And I literally just got up one day. It didn't have anything to do with anything. I never thought about it. It wasn't a thought that I had that it was going to happen. Oh, and I stopped cursing. I stopped cursing. I quit drinking. And occasionally I would have a glass of wine, but literally that would be it. But I stopped cursing as well too for like for probably, I was going to say 4, but I think it was longer than that. It was like 5 or 6 years. I did not curse at all. I did not listen to secular music. I mean, I was deep off heavy in it, and it just happened one day. I just woke up. I literally just woke up, and that was it. So I'm not saying that there aren't behaviors that you can't just automate, but being feminine is not easy when you're coming generationally from, women that are just masculine in every way that they can be, that are just projecting hostility and arrogance and narcissism. I'm calling it out. If a Bible thumping woman is masculine and not in her purpose, then she is irrelevant. Don't pretend. Walk in your belief. I agree. We are born gods, but thought not to walk in our purpose. I'm in agreement with all of those things. And another guy the other night, we were talking about how men always want a girl to call him daddy, which is, I tell him all the time, I don't have daddy issues. I'm not going to call you daddy, but I will call you God. And he made the comment that, that people, are using titles of God, but they're not in a godlike environment. Like they're not in a God space. They're not, I don't disagree with that by any means. I'm not disagreeing with that. And I get it, but somebody inboxed me and said, don't forget, he was just trying to holler, but he said, don't forget you're a beautiful queen. And I had this conversation with my son 2 days ago, maybe yesterday even. And I said, I was taking him to work and it was in the morning, and it's like hustle and bustle, and he comes downstairs, and I'm not working. It's my quiet time, but he comes downstairs, Mom, can you take me to work? I said, yeah, I can take you. And, like we get in the car, we get out of the garage, we're pulling out of the driveway, and I look at him and I was like, oh, good morning, baby. And he was like, good morning, Mom. Why would you talk to me like that? And I said, I'm sorry, baby. Grand rising, baby, grand rising. And he was like, thank you. I appreciate it. And I said, your sister just had a whole conversation with me and told me that just like king and queen were a thing, that grand rising is a thing. I said, but grand rising is not a thing for me. Like that's really literally how I've talked. I've been saying grand rising for years now. Like, I don't know, at least 3 or 4 years I've been saying grand rising to people. I occasionally say good morning, but just, out of the fact that for 50 something years, I said it. Again, practice behavior. Like if that's not what I want to say, and I want to change my verbiage, then you have to practice. Not everybody gets up and says, I was hanging around with a really young girl. She was 28, and this was recently. So I'm, 51, she's 28. And she was one of my closest friends. I was around her all the time. And she calls everybody bitch. What's up, bitch, 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 bitch. And I'm around her all the time. And I start, picking up certain things. And that was one of them, unfortunately. And I was on the phone with my mom and I called her a bitch. I was like, bitch, da, da, da. And I was like, hold up a minute. Like, this is out of control. Like legit. Like it wasn't even a thought I had. It just, naturally flowed out of my mouth. And the same thing with bruh. Unfortunately, I don't say it as much as I did, but I'm around my kids all the time. I talk to them incessantly, and that's how they talk, and I pick it up. And then next thing I know, I'm saying bruh, and then I got to stop. I'm like, I don't want to be that 52-year-old woman walking around saying, bro, what's up, bro? Come on, bro, whatever. I don't want to do that. I have no desire. So with that being said, I had to stop saying it again. It's a process. It's been taking me, I'll catch myself every once in a while and be like, I can't believe I said that, and then I'll say it jokingly and I stop myself again, because again, you want to get out of the habit. But let me tell you something, Jen, let me address this, and then we're going to shut down the show since nobody wants to come on and talk to me, which is fine, because everybody and their grandmama know I can talk all night. But I'm calling it out too. And this is my biggest issue. And my daughter would call it blasphemy, and y'all can call it what you want. She's being funny, of course. I'm not a Beyonce fan. I'm not saying she's not talented or any of those things, but for several reasons, I'm not a fan of hers. And mostly it has to do with when she first came out, which was a very long time ago. I don't know when, but I'm just telling you. When I saw her, she came on Oprah. That's how long ago this shit was. I was watching the Oprah show back then. First of all, the fact that it was the Oprah show. And secondly, the fact that I was actually watching it. It's almost embarrassing to tell you that I used to watch those shows, but I used to watch Dr. Phil. I used to watch Oprah. I didn't really watch, some things make me so upset, but anyway, she came on the show and she performed, and then she sat down at the time with her, and her mother was there. I don't know how old she was when she came out. If y'all know, let me know. But I don't know how old Beyonce was when she like came out and debuted herself and all that. But one of the biggest things about her at the time when she came out, let's see. Not nine. She wasn't 9, but after that. It doesn't say how old she was, but she was not with Jay-Z at the time. But I feel like she was young. Like, I feel like she was, in her early 20s, maybe, or late teens, early 20s when she came out. Beyonce was what age on Oprah first time? Let's try that. She was 22 years old. And she had just got done up there. She was half naked on the show and shaking and doing all of the above and whatnot. And she sat down after she shook her ass and had literally sexualized herself in every way, form that she can and could have, and then proceeded to tell everybody how she was a Christian and she was a virgin. And I feel like if you're going to be a Christian, you need to be a Christian, 100% Christian, and you need to be all in or all out. Like, you can't half-ass it. We had this one lady that used to come to my church. She was the town hoe. I'm just going to say it. Everybody knew she was the hoe. She messed around with multiple men in this little small town. And on top of that, she was screwing this one chick's boyfriend. Everybody knew it. Gilly, you know the boyfriend, by the way. He's not with the same girl. He's with a different woman now, but you know who I'm talking about. And I'm not kidding you. She would come to church. I swear to God, fresh off the streets. I can't make this shit up. She would come fresh off the streets into church with the littlest outfit on. One day she came in there. She had the littlest, tiniest dress on and literally just laid down in the pew in the back and fell asleep. No panties, crotch all out in the church, in the back of the church. I don't know if she was in there to get saved. I don't know if she was in there just to sleep because it's the only place she could get some sleep. I don't know what she was in there and what she was doing. But I remember one time I preached a sermon and I basically said, I feel like we should denounce ourselves as Christians. Now, I never claimed Christianity, even in the pulpit. It wasn't something that I talked about. I didn't, nobody ever asked me about my religious preference. I guess they just assumed I was a Christian, and I'm not saying I was or wasn't. I'm just saying it wasn't something that I had a conversation about. I didn't claim any type of Christianity at the time. I definitely preached different than other people preached. I definitely had different things to say than other people preached. And so I was definitely unique in what I spoke about. But anyway, one day I got up and I said, I feel like you guys should denounce yourself as Christians. Like, you shouldn't even call yourself Christians anymore because you got a bad rap at the end of the day. Nobody has any faith in Christians. Nobody believes in Christians except for other Christians. And I'm just being honest. And I said, we're coming to church every Sunday and we're claiming all these things and holier than thou, and we're doing all this stuff, and then we walk out and most of us go and start drinking, start gambling, fire something up and all that. And I'm not saying you can't be a Christian and do all those things, but I'm saying if you're going to be a Christian and you're going to tote your Bible around and preach from the Bible and be embedded in the Bible, then your behavior needs to match that. And that's the same with enlightenment or anything else that you are. Buddhism, I mean, if you want to claim a religion, then that's what you should be in. If that's not what you're capable of doing, then do something else. There was another, chick in the church, and she wanted eventually to become an evangelist. She basically accused me of not being, a fraud, basically, like that I wasn't chosen. And she showed out at an event at another church, and the bishop at that church got right in her face. And she told her, she goes, well, I don't want her praying over my kids because I don't think has calling on her life, like she said. Mind you, that she was like my biggest supporter when I first started preaching, and she came to my trial sermon. She just went on and on about how I saved her life and blah, blah, blah. And now she's telling me she don't want me to pray over her kids because we went to an event, and she said to me, I need you to lay your hands on my children. And I said, I'm sorry, what? And she said, we're going through something, and I need you to lay your hands on my kids. I said, first of all, I do how the Spirit guides me to move. You're not going to come up to me and tell me you need me to put my hands on you want me to lay hands as if laying hands was going to do something. What's up, Jason? What's going on, sir? You're not going to tell me, what. So that's what made her mad. So I gathered them up to pray with them. And I guess she thought I don't know what she thought. I guess she thought I was kidding. And we were in a circle, and we were holding hands, and I was praying. And after that, she went sideways on me. But anyway, the bishop said, so you calling me a liar? She was like, no, I would never do that. She said, well, you're telling me she doesn't have a calling over her life, and I can clearly see it, and I know I can discern. So you calling me a liar? I mean, like, it was an ugly situation. But my point is that she eventually decided that she wanted to be in the pulpit. Now, mind you, so she came and said she wanted to be an evangelist to the pastor. And the pastor came to me and told me that he was going, to allow her to be, that she had this calling on her life. Mind you, she's fucking one of the young dudes in the church. She'll drop her kids off at choir practice, talking about she going to get her hair cut, and comes back with her hair in disarray, not cut. And we know, everybody knew where she was going, this young cat's house. Mind you, she's married to a man who's involved with another woman and got another woman living with him, and they just got married. She's got the step baby with her at all times. Like, it was ridiculous. And I told the pastor, like, I had already was going through shit that I had already been considering walking away. And I told him, I said, it's one thing for me to preach the devil in the. I'm so sorry. I'm on my podcast. Can you call your brother? Sorry, guys. And so obviously that was my daughter. I got sidetracked, but anyway, I said it's one thing to preach, to demons and devils and all that in the pulpit, but it's another thing to have one sitting next to you. In the pews, it's another thing having a demon sitting next to you in the pulpit, and that I refuse to go. I refuse to be in the pulpit with her. Basically, I refused. I'm just, you're falsifying yourself. You're deceptive and deceit, and to be transparent. And then I'm going to tell the story, and then I'm going to go. And to be utterly transparent, at the time, the reason that I really stepped out of the pulpit, it was my year. It was right out of year. And when I started preaching, the man that I was in a relationship for 20 years was married to another woman. Now, he was not involved with her. We didn't even know where she was. He had to hire someone to locate her to serve the divorce papers. But we were married we were together, not married. We were together for 18 years when he decided to get a divorce. I left him 2 years later. But I told him when I took the calling over my life to preach, I gave him 1 year. I said, you have 1 year. And what I need you to do is divorce her. You don't have to marry me if that's not what you want to do, but I cannot live in a house with a man who's married. And again, I don't have any of these beliefs right now. I am not the same person. I'm just speaking solely. I was a hypocrite, though. I'm preaching the Bible and preaching these things out of the Bible, and I'm living with a man who's married to another woman. And I know all the logistics about the paperwork and the government and all of those things. I'm not negating any of that right now. I'm just saying I was the reason why people didn't come to church. And so to add, conflict to that, sitting next to a woman who's, having that type of behavior, and you want to put her in there to preach even farther. But if you're going to be what you're going to be, then be that. Be proud of that and be who you are in that. But if my biggest issue is that is the Christians being in the church and claiming to be something that they're not. They're deceitful, and they don't live by the Bible, but they judge you by the Bible. And that's my biggest problem, with all of that. And back to our original subject, this gentleman saying that a strong woman isn't that you take a woman's being strong as and it's really, and you're calling it woman's strength, you're calling it masculinity, but it's really just her being strong and holding a man accountable. Again, if the man leaves a relationship, that's not a woman holding him accountable. A woman holding a man accountable is her leaving the relationship. There's no other way around that. That's the only way you can hold a man accountable. If a man does something, a behavior, let's just say cheating, even though that's an extreme behavior, and I would never stay after cheating. Now, I did before. I've already been there and done that. I would not do it again, and I have not done it again, and I will not do it again. Hello. What's going on? Gilly, everybody remember that BW is Gilly. On the journey to anything, we'll question everything. Love the process. I mean, I agree, Jason. Absolutely, you have to love the process. And I don't right now. I'm being truly honest with you. I don't like the process right now. It is uncomfortable. I had a great day and a very uncomfortable day, but it was a great day for me. I was just moving in a different energy that I normally move because, I'm becoming, and it's very challenging and whatnot. But, I normally, again, don't speak to men. I don't direct my conversations to men because unless I'm questioning them or asking them or trying to understand something about them, I don't normally tell a man what to do. But in this case, I'm going to say, stop it. If you are out here, can stop telling women what to do, how to be, whatever. I mean, you can talk about their bad behavior and things like that, but don't stand here as a man and try to tell a woman, try to explain a woman or their behavior. And then certainly don't get online and blast yourself. And it's getting, again, blasted. Hey, it's getting blasted everywhere. On top of it being blasted everywhere, like this shit went, I don't know if it went viral, but it definitely, there was a multitude of people that saw it. And you're on there talking about women and how they are, you take their strength and call them masculine, and he doesn't even make any sense. He literally contradicts himself on there by saying that the women's holding you accountable, so you leave. No, you left because you're tired of listening to her bitch all the time, trying to make you a man that you're not either ready to be or you're not in general. If you're not ready to step up and be the man that you need to be, the protector, the provider, and walking around in your divine masculine energy, then it's just not time for you to do that. There is not a woman on earth, I don't care if it is your mother, there is not a woman on earth who is going to force you to change. You have to make the decision to do that. You as a man have to do that. In the meantime, mind your man's business. As much as I love y'all, mind your man's business. Stop telling us how to be. Let us women that are walking in our divine feminine energy deal with the women that are not. Let us deal with their asses, because we will. I promise you we will. And the men need to, you deal with the men who aren't walking in their divine masculine energy. Y'all talk to them. Y'all worry about what they doing. But you ain't going to sit here and bitch about the type of women that you're attracting and then and your friends are attracting, and then turn around and not hold yourself accountable for your own behavior. I hate that I can't see who's on the screen. What's going on?
Gilly.
What's going on, girl?
How are you? I love that you're speaking in your truth today. Strong in your convictions.
Thank you. That you
strong in your
with.
Confidence. I like it.
But you disagree. You think what he said is true.
You're not listening. You're not listening. I think that you're taking it
as if he's talking to you, and somebody's out here daring to attack a strong woman. And we all wish we could be that woman that says, no, that's bad behavior. What I think you might be saying is, once that said quote unquote strong woman notices bad behavior, she's just as much to blame for staying a minute past that. That's what I think you're saying. Because what he's saying is, you see me. You see, this never is going to change. He's just going to change who he's with.
Right.
And that's all dude is saying.
I mean,
he does go into worth. And dude, as you have a third leg, you really don't have a whole lot to say about a woman and her worth. Back up. Support. Stand, support. But don't sit there and preach to somebody about it. But I get that part. But I think what he's saying is, the man is not going to change. And he's just going to change who he's with. And that strong women are vilified for not wanting to put up with that bullshit. Not settling for the bullshit.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that, but I will say that if the woman was truly not putting up with it, she would have been the one who left.
She'd have been the one who left. And come on. We are a female tribe of I'm this, I'm that, I'm strong. And as soon as, and I've witnessed it through generation ours, millennials, Z's, I don't know what the fuck they're doing yet. But I've noticed it. The second you can take the strongest woman, the hardest woman, tell them one thing they want to hear, you tell them exactly what they need to hear. And if the smartest man was paying attention and figured it out, they're fucking jello. Every fucking woman, this whole entire like online dating society, this whole entire just matrix of it's not normal anymore. No one's I'm not trying to go back to the 50s where you have to go, yes, come to the door. Yeah, absolutely. Don't honk for me, motherfucker. But it's gotten out of fucking control. It's just out of control.
I mean, I agree. And Jay said, yes, females, a tribe of talking a lot about what they are instead of just showing it, because they can't show it because they're not there yet.
And circling back to what you just said. So why didn't they leave when they saw bad behavior? Because they hoped and wished they could change. The stronger ones had a larger ego to think they can change them. That's why they stayed a little bit longer than they probably should have. But everybody thinks they can, thinks the pussy can, they think the pussy can change them and keep them. They think their strengths can change them and keep them. It's a very fine line of being strong enough to manage all the personalities in your home, to manage an entire home, possibly also manage a job and a career. It's a very fine line. And then to do it in such a wholesome way that you're not even taking all the credit and everybody feels like they pulled their part. But a good woman managing her home would make everybody pull their part. But they do it with a delicacy. And that's just gone. There's too much ego at play. And if they think, even the stronger ones will think that they can change them because they're smart, because they're independent, because they're wonderful, and because their pussy's bomb. And the fact is, you're not going to change a motherfucker don't want to change. They're just going to change who they're with.
And that I'm in absolutely.
The stronger ones might be harder to motherfucking break because they think they're strong enough to do it.
I agree with that. I definitely agree that there are women that are, but again, it's a matter of fact if that person's not for you. Like,
oh God, we got a lot of settling. There's a lot of settling going on out here. A whole lot of settling. Bitch, I settled 23 years ago.
Yeah, and
you know what?
There's a whole lot of men though that think that are in that.
A lot of settling going on. Nobody is just taking. You know what? I'll turn that around. These millennials are definitely, some of them that I've met are taking the time to be about self and not about the bullshit like at all. We had our generation coming back around. Maybe it's through divorce or maybe it's infidelity or what have you. And I don't know a lot of people, so I don't have a baseline, but I'm just seeing a whole lot of immature clothing wearing and people of our age, immature acting. The cheating is if you were in fucking high school, like grow the fuck up. Like, I just see such a decline.
I mean,
And then
absolutely.
you've got the married folks, and how many of those are great? Because then there's so many married men out there on here, on these online things, trying to step out. Like
I mean,
it made me
really.
lose faith for a long time until I realized I'm just rolling in the wrong circle. I've just ended up in the wrong motherfucking circle. Who are y'all?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. I mean, I totally get that. And you've witnessed not only me changing the caliber of woman that I am, but also witnessing what you have witnessed the caliber of men that I'm deal with now too.
Well,
And how quickly I get rid of the
you were
calibers
stuck for
that
a
are,
long time with
for a
one
very
person
long
for a
time.
very, very long time. When you
Woo.
watched You, I don't think you knew what you even wanted anymore.
I
And
mean,
so you've taken this time, and I don't care if this one didn't work out and that one didn't work out and that one. I watched you learn from each and every single one of them. I watched you learn the bad and the good. I watched you weed out and discover what you want, who you are, and finally now your path. And so if Jesus Christ, if Geminis are the most stubborn, I know Taurus are, but Geminis, you got to convince both of them bitches. You know, so it took a while, and you started to see the patterns, and you started to see what you didn't like and did like, and here we are.
I mean, I agree. I mean, and that did happen. And I have a lot of the men in my life, think that I should be advocating for women and that sort of thing. And everybody knows, kind of why I don't. And I'm
I
not
think
saying that I don't.
you should advocate for you,
And I,
and not just you. I think that should be the mantra when you're speaking to other people. I want you to let them know that they can advocate for themselves. So somewhere in your mantra, mission, yada yada yada, I want to advocate
right,
for you in quotations, because it's you, not you,
right,
them, you,
right.
right.
I agree. So
Jump top.
Jay said, men want and love correctly. We stick to a code to protect and love y'all, but most women can't stick to their natural code, so it won't work. Let me say
I
this.
wish for men that they would be able to see past their ego, to truly see women, because at first they fall in love with the idea of the woman, and then they start to realize that that's not who that is, that they put them on a pedestal or put them in a box or put them in a space in their mind where it matches everything that they have, and part of their ego is they can't fucking admit that, and here we are settling, and nobody wants to step up and just say, you know what, shit, you're gonna hate me for this,
What?
you know what, this just isn't working, shut up.
I mean, it's just not. And Jay,
And just be
I
single
know,
until you find the
I
next
know,
one. Don't step out all over the place. But
I
I
know,
can't
I
see the
know,
comments. Is anybody with me?
I know where Jay's coming from about the men want and love correctly. But let me say this. In my experience, Jay, a lot of the men that I have come across don't know how to love and correctly. They want to love correctly, but they're in the same cycle that I've read the gentleman's his Facebook post about the women raising the children and talking to them about how they're not shit, and then wondering why single mamas raising sons that women are complaining about because they don't need a man, and it's still a man's fault, and to make it make sense. And it's the same thing. Women aren't here nurturing men and giving them the balance that they need. And so men in general, first of all, we don't have nurturing mothers and nurturing women. And that, I think that, and I've said this before, that has a lot to do with the fact that men, I absolutely agree, Jay. I absolutely
What
agree
is
with that.
what he
He
say?
said men can't love y'all correctly because y'all can't even love yourselves correct. I absolutely agree with that. But the men are in the
Well,
same predicament
we
right now.
still need the microphone, so don't drop it just yet. Jesus.
Men are in the same predicament as we are. And I'm going to tell you why. Collectively, as a unit, you are unbalanced. The fact that the emasculation is being pushed into the narrative right now, the collective energy of men is unbalanced. The emasculation of y'all and the fact that the women, that are involved in your lives generationally are passing down this toxic masculinity, and they're treating you a certain way, and they're not nurturing you because they're not in their divine feminine
Can you
energy.
repeat what Jim just said again?
Creating.
What did he say?
Men can't love y'all correctly because y'all can't even love yourselves correctly. I mean, I'm sure he's saying correctly, not currently. It was easy to love y'all, the world would be a better place. And there are women that are easy to love. There are women that are easy to love. I'm telling you that I am easy to love. That's why my fucking show is called In Love with Kimberly Michael, because I'm so
I felt
fucking
like he said something and it triggered me to think that
I know you didn't.
I don't think I don't need no. I think it might have been before that. I don't know that I ever thought he had feelings. Let me explain that. I'm always worried about my feelings. What you did for me, what you didn't do for me. I never thought that he had any feelings about me or anything. So, do I think men don't have feelings at all? Yes, because I think what he said didn't make me think of anything specific other than men have feelings? The fuck? And it literally just hit me just there in this moment.
Yeah, he said men want and love correctly. We stick to a code to protect and love y'all, but most women can't stick to their natural code, so it doesn't work. But
Right there, it hit me that I've never considered his feelings, like ever. Not the quote unquote his. Like, I never considered them. I never considered him having any.
Right.
Is that weird? That's weird, right?
I mean,
that I'm in a relationship with a whole human being and I don't consider their feelings at all.
I don't.
Do women often do this?
I don't understand.
Because it literally just struck me that he has feelings.
It's not, that's not normal. Like, even being in the situation that I was in, I was concerned about his feelings.
Were you?
Yes, I spoke to him about his abandonment issues. I spoke to him about his behavior. I spoke to him and tried. I failed miserably, but I spoke to him.
You know what? I spoke to mine too.
Talk to him.
And it was just to pull out information so that I could figure out his weakness so I could get over. Does it make sense? Maybe I'm saying it wrong. I don't think I ever sat down and cared when we talked about, like your past or how you feel about your mom or how you feel about your dad. Like, I don't ever think that I was in that conversation with a caring bone. I think I was in it for information. Not to use against him, but just as like I'm watching a TV show information. Like I'm sitting here eating popcorn information. I don't think I ever cared one way or the other. And that sometimes feeds into why I think I'm psychotic, but we won't get into that. But I literally right now in this moment can tell you, while we've had heart-to-heart conversations, it was more of like I'm hearing gossip rather than he's expressing feelings and me caring at all. That's true.
Yeah, no, I didn't function that way. I mean, even in the midst of it, and I wasn't just speaking, Jim. I may not have been in my divine feminine energy like I am now by any means, and I may have been broken, but I did, consider his feelings, and I did know that he had feelings, and I generally would be concerned for him. Like, he would go through really bad bouts of depression, and I knew the only person that could get him out of that was his mother. I would take time off work. I would surprise him and plan trips, and I would take him there, and I would literally disengage with him and his mother and let him and his mother sit in the room. They would sit in there for days and talk and pray and whatever. And then we'd go home and he'd be better and everything would be great. Whatever I could do, I was always concerned for him. I was always concerned about his, and in the end, I was really concerned about his mental health. Now, unfortunately, I was being manipulated to believe that there was a mental health issue to be addressed that came from a military background that he didn't have. So there was a lot of confusion and shit. The dude is just, there's definitely some mental, but my point is,
Until you said you let him sit with your mom, I was thinking that maybe there was a percentage of what you did was preventative. Like, I gotta look like I'm helping this motherfucker so they don't flip out on me.
Well, no, our relationship evolved into that where I had to be very careful. I started manipulating him, not using his weakness against him, but using what
Oh, it was definitely
about
self-preservation. You were
him
protecting
to
yourself.
to
You
keep
didn't
the
want him to fly
peace.
out the handle and beat that ass.
Right. Or,
Right. Or wreck the house, or trash the house, or break
Uh-huh.
windows in the house that you don't need. Bullshit.
Yeah. And I was not
Wake
perfect.
up the kids with the crap.
I wasn't a perfect creature. I mean, I definitely was broken and I definitely had issues, but
You didn't go in broken, but you didn't grow in broken.
yes, I did. Are you kidding?
Come on.
Come on.
You might have went in delusional.
No, I wasn't in broken.
Well, yeah, there's that one thing.
What?
Well, the rest of it, you might just be a, only child, spoiled brat. But the one thing is pretty bad, so I can't say nothing.
I went in broken. And most women, not most women, but a lot of women that I've encountered and a lot of men that I've encountered have told me about the women that they encountered, and they literally say, like, every woman has been abused, mistreated. I mean, in the worst way. Not even like women need less mouth and more action. I fucking agree, Jay. I agree. Women's actions should show more love instead of disconnect. I agree. But again, that's not going to happen right now because we're walking around in all this fucking masculine energy.
Maybe we're walking around in so much motherfucking
Most of us are. Most of us
Maybe
are.
we're in need. Maybe we're just in need. And we take. And if we weren't so much in need, we wouldn't take, and we would give. I mean, I'm just in a miserable situation, so it's hard to speak. And I don't know a lot of people.
Capitalism.
So I don't know a lot of different situations.
Our relationships have turned into capitalism. We look we are giving because we want to receive. So I'm going to do this for you because I want.
Not money related. I just meant I take every.
No, but it's true.
I take every piece of energy in this house. Every piece of energy in this house is for me or from me. And don't give me any of your motherfucking energy because I don't want it. Oh, and that's just where we are. I'm even talking about back then before all the crap we're going through now. We're at year 23 now. So let's go back. Wait, let's go back further. Like, I don't ever remember sitting there caring about what you're saying. Ever. So I settled. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, I am still, and I stand by.
I didn't care about the first one. It was all about me. What can he do for me? How does he serve me? How does he accessorize me? I didn't care shit about the first one.
First of all, how could you give a shit about the first one? And when did you ever have a chance to think any of those thoughts? You were fucking 20. Terrified of him.
Well, I was 20. I was also 20, but I'm just saying.
Absolute most violent man I ever ran across in my life.
I should have left because it was all about me.
I know, but you went into that situation broken, and that's what women are doing. We go into these situations broken, and then we keep choosing broken men.
So I'm sitting here telling a man, end a relationship if you don't want to. Heal yourself and find a healthy relationship. Where I should be telling women the same damn thing. And here you are being a friggin' advocate for women right now.
You shouldn't be telling men shit because we can't tell men what to do. We can't tell them how to be a man. We need to worry about what the fuck we doing as women. And we as women are fucking it all up. We're fucking up any chance because, again, let me reiterate, we are the nurturers. We are the ones who are nurturing. That is the benefit of a woman, of a divine feminine woman, is a nurturing energy that we have.
So sorry.
It is not a mama thing. Again, it is a woman thing. And men at this point right now have lost just as much as women have. And they need to be nurtured. And we are not doing our part to create the men.
We're not their mother.
We're not supposed to be their mother. Mothers don't nurture. Women do. Women nurture, not mothers. Women. Women are natural nurturers. It is part of our divine feminine energy. It doesn't have anything to do with being a mama. You don't have to be a mama to be a nurturer. You just have to be a woman. And I'm not saying that there aren't any men out there that don't exist that aren't nurturers. Of course, anybody can be a nurturer. But
I think there are.
Who we are energetically as a creature, as a feminine energy, energy is nurturers. And we cannot balance out a man and encourage and help him to heal if we can't nurture him. We can't nurture him. We can't nurture our sons because we can't nurture ourselves. Because again, have been cursed generationally with masculine energy. We've been cursed generationally with trauma, excessive trauma.
I challenge you with 100 nurture challenge. You're going to nurture 100 people. That's my challenge to you. I'm not, no time frame on it.
You want me to what?
Nurture 100 people in
You don't
some
think
way,
I've nurtured
shape, or
100
form.
people?
Oh,
You don't think
absolutely. Me daily. I'm on your titty every day. I'm on your nature and freaking nutrition. I'm on your titty every fucking day. You want to hear something really funny? I'm in the kitchen doing this podcast with you because I don't want anybody to hear me. But I started out watching you in the bedroom, so it's been on the whole time.
What you mean?
God help me.
What you mean? It's on the laptop in your bedroom?
It's on the TV in my bedroom. I started off watching you on YouTube in the bedroom.
He
Full
ain't awake.
blast.
He
Full
ain't awake.
blast.
He ain't
Came
awake.
in here to talk to you on the phone. So it's been on in the bedroom the entire time.
He ain't awake.
I know, but still, that's funny.
Maybe he'll wake up feeling violated by my
I don't
words.
give a-
Anyway,
Oh, really?
Anyway,
Don't get me started.
I told Jay I
My
was only going to
panties
go
around my knees, stuck to my ankle. Shit. Why is it stuck?
I don't know. But I told Jay I was only going an hour, and it's been 2 hours solid. So
What did you talk about for an hour? Oh, that video.
The video, the same
I
thing we're
firmly,
talking about. I mean,
the only
at
part
the
I
end of the
agree
day,
with is
I'm not telling a man how to be a man, but stop telling us women how to be a woman.
Okay, I
will do
get
my
how you
best
disagree with that part.
to-
The only part I agree with is that a man won't change for you. He'll just change who he's with.
Yeah,
I agree with that
absolutely. He'll just change a woman who will tolerate his behavior. Absolutely. That part I agree with. But don't blame it on the woman saying that she was too masculine when she was just being strong. That's not the same.
No, and I
Masculinity
don't think
doesn't
anybody
have to
should
do
lower
with
their
strength.
standards. No more settling. Don't lower your standards. Create more if need fucking be, and put everybody on notice. The sooner everybody's on board, the more melodic we can be. Melody.
So masculine is having qualities or an appearance traditionally associated with men.
Would that be my legs or my beard?
The male sex or gender isn't it? Something's wrong with you.
It's November somewhere, bitch.
So one of the definitions does actually say strength, vigor, and boldness. But in a woman, strength is not masculine energy.
I
is
think that
not
would match a
strength.
woman.
It's a weakness for us because it's too heavy and it's not our natural energy that we flow in.
How is it not?
One.
How is that not your natural?
How do we
energy?
naturally flow in masculine energy?
Yes, the fuck you do. Boldness, vigor. What was the first word?
Strength.
Strength. So out of the two definitions that are handy for masculinity, we are not men. So we are definitely the second. I am not the second. You are. I'm just saying. I'm not masculine. I'm a fucking dipshit, man. I'm just an asshole.
I may be strong and I may be bold, but I am not out of those. Those are not out of my masculine energy. I am those things when I am at work.
You think because you're so fucking feminine, like your pheromones are feminine.
Thank you.
Everything, your dress, your softness, you're soft, you're short, the Barney toes. I mean, you're all the way feminine. So I think that's where you struggle to identify anywhere in your masculinity. But you can hang with the best of them and you don't take any shit. And you're bold and you're assertive. You're not aggressive, you're assertive, which all people should strive to be.
I mean,
so you must struggle with it, sitting there with the mirror and that cute little top talking about, hey, bitch.
I do.
But
I do.
Should I tell the Nissan Sentra story?
I have it written down several times that the woman I envision myself to be as a real estate broker is in direct conflict with the woman that I choose to be as in a relationship to a man. So I am those things, but I am those things in business. When I'm in the presence of a man, especially one that I care for and that I like, I am the feminine soft.
So when you have integrity and you have plenty and you're your authentic self, you can be both. Because you're being exactly who you are in both spaces.
Right, but I'm not moving in my masculine energy. I'm moving out of my feminine. Just because I have characteristics.
Oh, then you're manipulating. Then you're manipulating either one side or both.
No, I'm not. I'm not manipulating anything. I just choose to be more feminine than I am masculine. I can be bigger and bold and strong,
and you choose to
be
more masculine at work.
I can be.
So who are you manipulating?
I'm not manipulating anybody. Why am I manipulating someone?
Well, it's
How
got to
am
be
I
work.
manipulating?
It's got to be work. I mean, you put on your
Jason,
work
your
voice, right?
battery's about to
We
die.
all go
Okay.
to we all go to work and put on our white voice, right? So maybe it's the
I
work that's
don't.
being manipulated.
I don't, not anymore. I stopped code switching when I moved here. Jay's battery's going dead. Thank you everybody for showing up. I can't even go over everybody's name because I don't want his battery to go down and the show to go off without saying thank you to SavageCom.entertainment.
Quickly
Thank
share
you
the
for
show.
coming on.
Quick. Share.
Yes, share, subscribe, like, and share the shit out of the show. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for coming every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. And there is some talk between me and Jay about a late night show. I don't know what's going to be on it.
Isn't
but,
this freaking late? Jesus Christ.
no, this is not late. So, but you know, we have other things that may be happening. So stay tuned. Thanks for showing up, Cooks. I missed you. I appreciate you being here. And Lady, and I know there were so many people that were on here tonight, and I would love to. Jason Collins, I know Conscious T was here. Caitlin came in earlier as well too. And Jay, big shout out to you as always. I appreciate you. I love you. And as far as my men go, I love you. I still love you. I support you. I believe in you. Just, you know, take care of you guys and let us divinely feminine energied women take care of these less than women and get their asses straight. So thank you guys for showing up. And we will see you next Tuesday at 8 Central Time. Bye.
Tuesday.